Hey, hi
Hey, good
Sergio.
morning or afternoon.
Afternoon for me. Good, very early morning for you. What time is it in Chicago?
It is 7 a.m. 7 a.m. So, how
Wow,
are you, Benjamin?
I'm fine. Thank you for waking up that late and being with us.
No problem.
Uh,
I usually get up early anyway, so do my exercise, my run. So today, happy to be with you.
that's great. So I see that some people are joining us.
That's great. That's
That's
morning,
great.
everybody.
Yeah, hi everybody. Morning, afternoon, good evening. Um, People are joining. Let's wait a little bit. How is the weather in Chicago today?
Oh, it is going to be very, very hot, very hot. So,
What is
uh,
hot in
yeah.
Chicago? How
And I
many
say
degrees?
hi to Sergio 5608. Hey, we have another Sergio in the house.
Oh, okay. Same here actually in 2 days. It's going to be very hot here also. But anyway, Moldavia. Hi, Moldavia. Art Museum Moldava. Bonjour. Yes, in Moldavia they speak French. I forgot that. Yes, that's true. Hey, everybody. Welcome. Um, I have the pleasure today to welcome Sergio Gomez, who is a multi-talented person based in Chicago. Uh, Today is the second day of Museum Week, devoted to creators, and this is what is Sergio. Not only, we will discover that later. Sergio is based in Chicago, as I just said, and before entering into the conversation with him, I just want to remind the global theme of Museum Week, which is innovation for culture and social impact. How do you use innovation or innovative approach to diffuse culture and have a social impact? It doesn't necessarily mean high tech. In some cases, yes, but it can be an innovative way. Sorry, to involve communities locally for a cultural organization. But in some cases, it means high tech. So why is it such an important theme for us? Because minds, hopes, despairs are structured online today, especially for the young audiences. Their brain is forged online.
Mhm.
So we think that artists, digital creators, and cultural institutions has something to do online to change the narratives, to change thoughts, to change the hopes, to build new imagination. And this is why we think that in digital territories, the whole ecosystem, the cultural ecosystem, has to be strongly represented. So there will be counter narratives to compete with others, narratives that we don't agree with. So what would be a world without art? But what would be a digital world without art? So
Mhm.
this is the thing. This is why. I take also the opportunity of this talk to announce that we're going to launch a Museum Week membership program. You will see that on Twitter of Museum Week. It's the tweet that is pinned on our profile. If you want to mark an interest and leave your details there, um, and because Museum Week is not only an event, it's a community. So if you want to hear about us, go on Twitter, the Twin Pit. Now, Sergio, the name we call this talk analog, digital, phygital. So, in few words, can you explain what is analog, digital, and phygital, and then we'll speak about you.
And they're all in a boat, right?
And they're all in the boat, like we said in the
Yeah,
title.
they're
Yes.
all in a board represented. Well, I think this is a first of all, thank you to Museum Week for inviting me over. Like, what a great celebration this week, with all the things that you guys are doing, all the programming, all the people coming along. So it's been really exciting, and this is just the beginning. And we have a still far week ahead, so super excited for that. I pinch myself every morning, to say, wow, what an exciting time to be alive, because we have this new technology that, you and I, you are in Paris, I'm here in Chicago, we can connect our friends who are all over the world here watching, they can connect as well. And all of a sudden, we feel like we are, across the table. So that's the digital world in which we live in. You know, the art that is created within this realm, you know, is experienced also through this technology, through these devices that now we carry everywhere, you know, or iPads or phones or, you know, computers, laptops. You don't travel, you know, without one of those devices because you want to stay connected, right? So there's this idea of connectivity that technology brings, the immediacy of the world that we bring in our hands, that we carry in our hands, information and all that. So, you know, the digital art that happens in this you know, medium. And then we have also, as we have all known, all of us who are older, you know, all like us, you know, we have a lot of white hair. So I've been around for a while. I remember that a world without technology. I mean, there was technology, but not this technology that we have now. Before social media, before the web, I grew up with the dial phone, and probably
Me
you did
too.
too. Yes, my children, they don't know that world. You know, since they were one, they already had an access to an iPad, right? So we understand, or us who come from that age group, you know, we understand a world without this, and the traditional art making that happens in the studio, and it still happens today, you know, outside of this device. But then you add this device, and then now there's a new convergence of the two, that which brings the, you know, the physical and the digital art, you know, this emerge, because they don't have to be opposites. I think, you know, back in the day when we were coming into this new technology of the web and all these things, I think in the art world, we were kind of resistant. You know, we were kind of some of the last ones to jump into the web and things of that nature, because we thought, well, art is art, you know, technology is over there. We saw them kind of separate. There was always sort of a barrier. We thought, I don't know if you remember this, Benjamin, we thought back in the day where people said, nobody's going to buy art online because people have to see it in person. Well, you know, let's look at the numbers today. Some
Yes.
art is sold online. We have a gallery here in Chicago that we own, and we sell, you know, just about 90% of our
Oh,
inventory
really?
sold online, you know, from
Mm.
collectors that we will never meet in person. So that's kind of the beautiful thing where we're experiencing today.
So the analog world is the world before the internet. Let's call it. It's the brick and mortars. For a gallery, it's a place
Yeah.
open from this time to this time in this place, in this location, physically. This is the analog.
Yeah.
The digital is, let's say, the same thing, but online, purely online. So just in one sentence, what does it mean, the word phygital? Because it looks like it's a physical and digital. So is it, wow, how do you do that?
The way I think of it is the convergence of two realities. Because when we think about the physical, we're not thinking about only the past. It is the present. You know, we live in the physical world. I pinch my ear, it hurts, right? I'm here. So is that convergence of the two realities, and you know, creating something that can be experienced in both the physical and the digital.
Excellent. I love that. And by the way, I remember before the web, in the conversation when I was working in the museum, the conversations were, if we make a website about our collections, people will stop coming.
Yes, remember
And
that.
when Web 2 came and said, people said, oh, if we make social networks, people will stop doing this and that. I mean, okay. So,
Yes.
so let's start. Let's come back to you now. Just we're curious, probably about. I mean, people are curious about who are you? Where do you come from? What did you study? What is your what was before, just right now?
Yes, thank you for asking. So, well, first of all, thank you guys for being here. Super excited to see a lot of also familiar names there. Thank you for joining us. Well, I was born in Mexico. So I grew up in Mexico, Mexico City, which, as you know, is a huge place, 20 million people, big place. Now, the interesting part about my upbringing is that when I was growing up and I was a child, up to when I was 16, when I moved to the United States, I never met a living practicing artist. I mean, I saw a lot of art in Mexico City because there's art everywhere. Mostly when I was growing up, I saw art from the past, you know, from that I saw in the museum, that I saw the muralists, all those things. But I never met a person who was making art for a living. So I thought in my head, you know, when if you were to ask me when I was 10 years old, 12-year-old, what do you want to be when you grow up? Even though I love art, I thought I had to do something, you know, like an architect or a designer of some sort. So I always say, I want to be an architect. I love buildings too, and I love architecture. However, I did not know that one could actually, make a living making art. So it wasn't until 1988 when we moved to the United States, to the Chicagoland area, where I'm in high school. So I'm registering for classes, learning English, because I didn't know any English when I came here. And then I take an art class in high school. I take a second art class in my senior year, and my high school teacher said, "Hey, Sergio, you have talent. You're always here making art. You're good at it. Have you ever thought about an art career?" And I said, "Well, no. I always thought I was thinking about graphic designs. I also love technology and things like that. But no." He said, "Why don't you give it a try?" So I said, "Okay, I think that sounds like a good idea." So I went to college. I first started on a community college, and then I took
in Chicago.
What's that?
In Chicago, right?
In Chicago, exactly. So I took every art class that they had. Everything from pottery to graphic design to which back then, graphic design back in those days, it was the old Mac 2E, which was like a little box, black and white screen, PageMaker. Photoshop had only like 5 tools. That's how old back I go when it comes to technology. But I love that. I love that. And then I love also the making with my hands, and the painting and drawing and charcoal and all those things. So that's really when I fell in love with art, and I saw for the first time, well, actually there's a possibility. And then the college invited and a well-established Chicago artist to come to speak to the college, and that's why the first time, like, my eyes really opened, and I said, wow, I can actually do this. I can actually, have a career in art. And I remember my parents asked me, "Hey, what are you studying?" I said, "Well, art." So what are you gonna do with that? I don't know, but I'm sure something will work out. They wanted me to, or expect me, to be something that they would understand. But they were very supportive, very supportive. So from there, I went to the School of the Art Institute in Chicago, which is a very well-known school, internationally, the Art Institute. And then from there, I transferred to Governor State University, a smaller university, where I finished my master's degree. And then I did a Master of Fine Arts degree at Northern Illinois University. And that's kind of what led me to art. In 2004, I've always been interested on a number of things: art making, the business of art, how art gets around in the world, what happens after the art is done in the studio, and curation, curatorial practices and entrepreneurial practices too. So kind of like the combination of all things. In 2004, I started a gallery here in Chicago as soon as we graduated.
With your art or with others?
Well, we started, I wanted to open this art gallery. I didn't have any money. I didn't have any business, training, because back then art and business were also like two separate words. Business was like a dirty word back then, So I had to, I called 3 friends, said, "Hey guys, you want to open an art gallery with me?" They said, "Yeah, let's do it." So we all got together, and they helped me start 33 Contemporary, which we call it 33. This 33 Contemporary Gallery. We call it 33, not because there were 33 artists, but because we were all 33 years old, the 4 of us.
Okay.
So,
nice anecdote. Yeah.
Yes, it's good. Except now, as I get older, I can see the distance between my age and the 33 keeps getting wider. But anyway, so we opened the gallery. That led me to curatorial practices, which I loved. And I've always also enjoyed the world of technology. Back then, Photoshop, Illustrator. So I always, besides painting, although my major was painting and drawing, I always took classes on marketing, design, and so on. So when I finished my education, my Master of Fine Arts, while I figured out what to do, I had to work. So I started working in a marketing and advertising company doing design. So I learned a lot about the world of marketing and advertising and how it all functioned. And so there had always been parallels to what I do. So I have my, what I consider like the 3 things that I do. It is, my art, the business of art, which is the art gallery, running the art gallery, curatorial practices, working with artists, getting art out into the world, And then the educational component, which we came to open up later on, the idea of how do we also help and educate artists, you know.
Okay, this is something that we're going to develop now, because I think that more and more you are speaking, we are coming until today now. We define your three big activities, main activities, sorry. You are an artist. Also, you have a gallery. And then and you train people. I mean, and if I read correctly, what you do, the vocabulary, the words you use, you bring them to the next level.
Right.
So we're going to speak about this because this is very interesting. But let's first speak about the project that you have, artistically speaking, and with the gallery, and then with the next level activity. What are you on? I mean, what themes are you working on personally as an artist today?
Yeah, so let's start with my personal work as an artist, because I always say, first and foremost, I'm an artist. I work, my studio's over there. I work in my studio and make the art that I love. My work for the last 20 or so, 21 years has been, well, I work in painting, mostly painting, drawing, and then, you know, as time went by, adding technology. But I work with the idea of understanding the cycles of life. And this was when my first son was born, and I saw him, you know, at birth. And then as I have seen him growing up, and as I'm getting older, and we all are getting older, my friends and so on, you know, it has really intrigued me, these cycles of life. And also when I moved to Chicago, I lived in Mexico City. So year round, weather is nice, it's beautiful. I never saw the changes in weather or seasons. Here in Chicago, summer is hot, fall is beautiful, everything is yellow and red, leaves go in the ground. You get the winter, you know, super cold January, and then spring, everything goes back up, beautiful green, yellow, you know. So I saw for the first time these cycles that exist in nature. So
interesting.
Yeah, so I decided to devote my artistic practice to understand the cycles of life and to understand this idea of presence. You know, what does it mean to be present? And the way I do that is through the depiction of figures in my paintings, which are not portraits, but they are abstract figures. And the reason is I'm very interested in the presence of the individual versus the likeness of the individual, right? So here with you, Benjamin, to me is more important than how you look like, how it feels talking to you and being with you, right? That presence that when you leave the room, I remember you. That's what I try to depict in my work.
Interesting.
Invite people to think about those things too, with their own experiences and their own way of interacting with individuals. So I'm all about community. I've always been about people. I love connecting with people. And so my work, I see kind of like that is the message that I bring. You know, no matter how far away we may be, we can still connect and we can still feel each other's presence. So what I'm doing right now, I have a new body of work. I have a solo exhibition, actually here at 33 Contemporary Gallery. So the timing worked perfectly. And this show involves both the physical and the digital, right? The Phygital art, you know, because they converge, where there's a body of work, which are the paintings, all of them start as paintings, which then use augmented reality. Also, the viewer can use their phone or a mobile device to experience an added component of the painting. And then some of the works also will exist as NFTs in the blockchain.
Okay, so wait.
Converging those
now there is something to, I mean, because we didn't really reply before about what is Phygital, and now we're reaching it because you're doing it. You're doing this concretely. So Phygital, if I'm going to sum it up for as the way I understood, you have a real piece of art exposed in a gallery, for instance. But when the visitors come to the gallery, they can have something more, and not only with their phone, it can be another device. But then there is another piece of art within the piece of art that is exposed, that is developed, offered. Okay, that's interesting. This is what we call Phygital, right?
Exactly.
Interesting.
Totally right on. Yeah, and it's this idea that you can experience both, and they both can stand out on themselves. I didn't want to make a painting that must have the digital component in order to be experienced. In other words, you can come into the show, never know about the digital part of it, and still have the experience of looking at a work of art.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, you can come in the gallery with your phone and look at the entire exhibition just with the phone and still have another experience at that level. So bringing those together. And of course, the idea is that you experience both, that you look at the you enjoy it for what it is, you use the device. And the way that my pieces are created in the augmented reality is you are able to walk into the painting and see the layers. And the way I like to think about it, I'll show you here a little bit, see if this shows. But here you can see a little bit of how, you can walk into the painting and see the layers.
Wow, cool.
Imagine if you could walk into the Mona Lisa's painting, see how
or into Jackson Pollock's.
Yes, Jackson Pollock. Imagine if you could walk into Jackson Pollock and see all those layers, right? So in my work, the augmented reality is not just adding, something cool to look at. Oh, it is nice and cute. No, it is part of exploring the painting in another level that otherwise in the physical world is limited.
Mm-hmm. I don't know which I don't remember which museums made this. Maybe it's the Belvedere. I don't remember exactly, but they allow you. It's less sophisticated than what you are doing, but still a very, very interesting. They allow you with your phone, when you look at a painting through your phone, you see what was before the painting, when the painter erased or made some correction and so on. So the X-ray is accessible to you with your phone. So I found also, an interesting way to, of course, it's less sophisticated, but still very interesting, I think. So wow, that's very cool. So this is what you're doing as an artist,
right?
Currently, right?
And I think it adds to the work and to the experience also, which is kind of what the museums do. It adds almost a didactic component to the exhibition, where you learn about the artist, you learn about the work, not just look at it, but you learn. In a museum, you go and you learn, right? It's a learning experience.
Interesting. Yeah.
By providing this technology,
Oh yeah, I got it. I didn't see that. Thank you for underlining this. It means that not only you don't offer only how do I say an exposure to a new way to look at your art. You explain it. You detail the way it was built, actually. Exactly. So you become pedagogical.
Exactly. Wow. That's correct. And the viewer, what I love about the augmented reality and the multi-layer process is that the viewer, as they look, so there's different ways of creating augmented reality, right? I mean, you can look at the artwork and then something moves or animates, and that's fine. In that case, I have 3 pieces that are like that. And in that case, the viewer is just stationary with their phone in front of the artwork. In the case of most of the show, which is the multi-layered pieces in augmented reality, the viewer has to move in order to experience it. You can walk around the piece, under the piece, above the piece, and see the layering process. So it's really cool to see people engaging, but actually, let me see it. Let me see what's behind this layer. Let me see what's around that shape.
Excellent.
And also, the show is called Transfiguration, which my work, as I explained, is the figurative abstraction. Now, in this work, the paintings are mostly abstract, but when you use the technology, when you use augmented reality, the figure then is revealed. So it also has the aspect of not only showing you how the layers and how the painting is built, but it also, brings something that is not seen with the naked eye.
Interesting. I have my curiosity is leading me to ask you this question. When you give the possibility to see the layers, does it mean necessarily that the initial work was made on a computer or a tablet or whatever, is digital work? Or how do you slice?
These are all acrylic paintings.
Wow! So it's making it more, more interesting.
Yeah.
So you start from a concrete work, right?
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, it's really the merger between the physical and the digital, because it's purely physical and it's purely digital also. In that when you add the augmented experience. So the way the paintings are done, they're in acrylic. I have to document the process, and using a lot of like Photoshop to clean up, the different parts, so that at the end I can put it together. For example, if there's a red line that must be on its own layer, I have to document that before I add something else, so that I can delete the background,
Wow.
then add it as of its own.
Okay,
So
we definitely change of world. That's
yeah.
I would be, very. It would be great to bring some of the great painters from 200 years ago or 300 years ago into brick, and to say, oh, this is going to happen. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. And I think it adds that educational experience too, that often we want to know. That often in the museum we read at the book, we read in the catalog, we look at the caption, but when you actually see it, it totally changes the experience. And the beautiful thing about it is that you can still put your phone away and enjoy, a painting for what it is, a physical object.
So in the analog part of your work, okay, you use acrylic paintings, etc. What do you use? What kind of materials do you use? What kind of software, hardware do you use for the digital part of your work? How do you create?
Yes, so the paintings are done in my studio. The most traditional way you can think of, acrylic on canvas, or sometimes paper, charcoal, the mediums that we have been using for thousands of years. These charcoal techniques, mark making, texture, things of that. And then in the digital part, well, I use a lot of Photoshop. Like I mentioned, I've been a Photoshop user since Photoshop was around, many years ago. So I've always loved that. I'm very good at it. So I use a lot of Photoshop for separating my layers and so on. And then, for animation, I like to try all kinds of different apps and, test things around. And really, I only use one thing. It's usually various programs, that an image goes through in order to be what I want it to be. And a lot of testing around. A lot of things don't work. Just like a painting, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You have to start from scratch all over again, gesso it, and then say it's not good. Same thing in the digital world. The only difference is that you can just hit delete and you can just start.
That's it. So do you also use a tablet with a pencil? Do you use this kind of stuff?
I use my iPad. Yeah, with the
use your iPad. Okay.
Procreate, one of my favorite
Procreate.
apps.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. So because we spoke about the pedagogical dimension of the phygital world, can you tell us if you make workshops online about how to create, how to become a digital creator? Because how to bring, I have talent in drawing, how can I, go into to the other world, I would say. Do you do that? Do you do this kind of thing? Do you do workshops?
In terms of the online workshops and the educational component, first I taught you at the university level for 13 years, and then I left to teach what I wanted to teach versus what the university or college wanted me to teach, right? So I have that experience of working, for 13 years in the classroom with students and teaching and all that. But I thought, there are things that the university is not teaching, and that's what I focus on. So I don't teach the practice of how to make art, studio practice. I don't teach that. I focus on the business of art, pretty much the thing that you will not learn in art school. There are many, colleges, beautiful universities, wonderful, that do work with, in teaching you how to make. But I focus on the practice of being an artist. So having said that, we have some course on, for example, how the newest course that we have is called NFTs for traditional artists. So in that course, I teach how I approach, the making of my art from physical to digital. Actually, the apps that I use and the techniques.
It's workshops, or it's online workshops?
Online. Yeah, it's an online class, a course. So anyone can take it at any time, yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. So you bring them, do you accompany them? Or is it just like generic workshops, or do you have programs? How does it work?
Yeah, so we have a whole program that's called the Art Next Level Academy. It's an online, pretty much an online academy where you can go there and you'll find courses of all types, from marketing and advertising to selling your art to how to create proposals for museums, for example. For institutions. If you have an idea for a show, you want to present it to a museum, how do you do it? So, we have a course for that. So pretty much we encompass the whole practice of the artist, including wellness and mindset, how to work with the imposter syndrome, self-sabotage, all those things. So, 80% of your success begins right here, right in your head.
Excellent.
So
it's also work. It's also a work on the perception of what is being an artist, right?
Exactly.
You work on that.
Yeah. Yes, and we said there are many ways to be an artist, right? We don't tell you this is how an artist must look like. You choose what type of artist you want to be. We're just here to support you in whatever choice you are. Some artists say, I want to work only with institutions, with galleries. That's fine. That's one way be an artist. And there are other artists who said, I don't want to work with galleries. I want to do my own thing and build my own thing. And that's fine. That's another way to be an artist. There are many ways to be an artist. You pick, you choose. We're just here to support you with the tools that you need. And every Tuesday, for example, we do Zoom studio visits. So where we get together through Zoom and talk about what's happening in our career. And then every Thursday we do live Q&A, like brainstorming sessions too. So it's a community. It's a community of artists where anyone can come and go as they want to join. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Okay. So and you do this from your Instagram account? This is
no. It's a
you have a platform. You have a website. Your platform. Yes. People register and
they can register at any time. Then when they register, they have access to all our support, all our courses, all our educational programming. And then when they say, okay, I'm done, I'm ready, then they can leave. So it's an open door policy. People can come and go as they please.
Because I saw also that you post podcast. You contribute with podcasts. Your Instagram account is very active. You have a lot of followers. You have a very active and addicted community.
We have a podcast. It's called the Artist Next Level Podcast. Now we have 309 episodes. So one new one just came out.
How many? Sorry.
Our podcast is called the Artist Next Level Podcast.
Yes.
We have now over 300 episodes in the podcast. So
that's something.
It's fun. And then our newest project, which is our brand new book. It's called Crush Self-Sabotage and Live Fully, the Artist Wellness Journey to Confidence and Success. This book comes out on June 25th. So it's our newest project. We're super excited for it. I wrote it with my wife. She's a psychologist, has a doctorate in psychology. So she has been working also with artists for many years. We sit down and wrote that book to help artists.
Yeah, that's very interesting because also it's what is to be an artist and how do I dare to be an artist? I mean, am I really an artist? This kind of question. So you work on that to reinsure people and to find their way to art and how to be an artist. That leads me to the next question because we can see that you are in touch with so many artists. You probably spend your days speaking with them. So according to what you heard also speaking with them, what's the role of an artist in society, in the analog world, in the digital, in the phygital, if there is a choice to make, if there is a difference actually? So why an artist?
Yes, of course. And before I answer that, some of my friends are asking about the name of the book.
I was about to.
Yeah, put it too quickly. It's
Make screenshots.
Crush Self-Sabotage and Live Fully. And it will be available on June 25th. You can go to Amazon.com or you can go to your local bookstore and request that they order it. Crush Self-Sabotage and Live Fully, the Artist Wellness Journey to Confidence and Success. So
excellent. Sergio and Yanina Gomez.
Exactly. Yeah, Sergio and Dr. Yanina Gomez. So that's our book, and you can just find it on my Instagram. It's everywhere.
Okay. So, yes, and Stephanie Graham said, "Oh, wow! Congratulations on the book." So
thank you guys.
People are happy of this. Yeah, cool.
Thank you guys. Thank you for writing it.
Stephanie just wrote the name for all the readers. That's cool. Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you. So to answer your question, what's the
Yes.
role of the artist in the world, in the physical, digital,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
all these things? I believe that as we first and foremost, we are artists. Whether we make art in the physical or in the digital, that's just the medium that we choose to, to work with. But I think an artist is an artist, right? Sometimes we make the distinction, oh, I'm a digital artist, I'm a physical artist. And I think we're going to see a lot more of that because of the NFTs and all this new world that is here. But at the end of the day, an artist is an artist at heart, right? An artist wants to create what he or she sees in the world. So I believe the role of the artist is to, with his and her own eyes, to make visual the experience of being alive in the world today, which for the artists of the past is the same idea of what they experienced at the world, which was today for them. So if we want to study the history of Rome, we have to look at the art that was made by the Roman, artists in that time, because that was their world, and their art documents and looks at their world through their eyes in the physical form. So that I feel that, and I believe that the role of the artist is to create what he or she has at heart based on the experiences that we have. For some artists is the subjects of pain and hurt. Artists who right now are going through war. For example, the art that they're making, reflects that experience of being alive in 2022 in a world-stricken part of the world, right? For another artist, maybe the beauty of nature, right, and the beauty of the ocean, and he or she this artist at the same time as this other artist is creating an experience of what is creating an experience of beauty. And that is the beautiful thing about art, that it's about the experience that the artist brings through what we experience in the world and what we see, and what it comes out on the other side as the physical, tangible, or in this case in the digital, leaving behind for others to see and study 300, 500 years from now.
That's thank you for this, because it's very, very interesting. First of all, I really like the you were an artist or you're not an artist, but when you are an artist, no matter where, digital, phygital, this is sure. On my side, I wanted wanted to add this. My perception of what is an artist is someone who has the natural, I would say, I don't know if the right word, but to vibrate with its environment and its epoch, and to translate this vibration into something where he knows how to express it.
Yes.
And and this is why you have different kind of expression, but still there is no way that an artist can be out of the system. You cannot produce, if you live in this epoch, you will not be able to create something if you would have been the same person with the same education to another epoch. So just like a seismograph, that vibrates with the earth when there was an earthquake. The artist just retransmit it, but with its own vibrations back, I would say, to the ecosystem.
I love that. I love that idea of the vibration. I think that is pretty cool. And that is contextual, right? I mean, we don't live in a vacuum. We
and socially, I would say also that there is an impact, with others, because so many times, art make you see things, that you didn't pay attention to, and suddenly you have, like, takes you by the hand and say, "Look what I saw here," and then suddenly you see it, So it's just like, it helps it brings oxygen, brings it. On Friday we will have a talk, with a painter, Brooklyn-based, working on environment. That is also will be a very interesting talk. But I like, to talk with people who are artists, just to see what they have in mind. How do they perceive themselves? How do they perceive, the role of artists? Because MuseumWeek, as I told previously, we are very much onto, building, stronger societies. And I think that personally, that artists, and I creative artists, historian writers. I mean, they can contribute to this work. I mean, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
So I have another question. I don't know if it's a relevant question, but what's your favorite museum? I mean, we didn't plan to speak about that, but if you have any, I mean, if you could, if you have, or maybe maybe what is the most inspirational work of art for you? If not one, then 1, 2, 3, whatever.
Yeah, that's a great question. It's like what's your favorite child, right? Almost.
That's hard. Yes, I mean, there is no yes, both three
However,
of them.
yes. However, there are places and there are museums that sometimes kind of keep pulling you back in. Here in Chicago, of course, because I'm here, the Art Institute of Chicago is one of my favorites. There's a piece there at the Museum of the Art Institute of Chicago that highly impacted me when I was young as an aspiring artist. And I remember very well seeing that piece for the first time. And it is a huge silk screen by Andy Warhol of Mao Zedong, and I was walking in the hallway, going, from gallery to gallery within the museum. And there was a long hallway on the right, and I looked, and far at the distance, it was like this. It's probably about, 2 stories high, huge, at least from what I remember, this portrait of Mao Zedong as a silk screen by Andy Warhol, very colorful, like blue and red. And yellow.
Yeah.
And I saw it, and it so impacted me. I believe that today, that was kind of an impression that if you look at my work, the figures, one figure in one work, usually that's my typical work, even to some 30 years later, has still impacted me greatly. And there was something about that moment that just pulled me in, and I stood in front of that artwork for a long time. Many times I visited. It never gets old. So it's that experience of
how old were you when you discovered this painting? If you remember,
I was probably 19 or so. I'm now 50, so it's been a while. So
cool. So you carry it with you, right? And show it, and you remember it, and so on.
Yes, exactly. I remember. And as I'm speaking about it, I looked over there, and I can see it in my head over there, right at the distance, because it was like this type of blue, like really intense, and it stuck on me. And whenever I travel, I like to visit galleries, museums. I think we all learn from all types of art. Being in social media, I learn and I get inspired by artists who are making art today, and that is the beautiful thing, that we have so much accessibility today to art like never before in so many forms. Like we can go to the museum, I can open my iPad, I can look at my computer, I can pick a book. Art is everywhere and anywhere, and that is a beautiful thing. Another reason to pinch ourselves in the morning, say, I can't believe I'm alive in 2022.
Do you make some? Do you have some digital detox times? I mean,
yes, I do.
How do you organize yourself? Just by curiosity, because
I try on Sundays to be as much away from my social media as possible. Sundays I like to be with the family, fully engaged, and put everything on the side. Once in a while I break my rule, but I try to take one day a week to just chill.
Okay, I just wanted to tell you which one struck me. It was in Centre Pompidou. I was looking for the name at the same time. Sorry.
Yeah.
Is a spatial concept from an Italian painter who's called Fontana, I think.
Okay.
Lucio Fontana.
Okay.
It's like a monochrome, several colors, and it just take a razor blade and make zzz. And you have I mean, just sharing with you this.
How old were you when you saw that first?
That's a good question. Actually, I'm 50 today, so I think it was something like 15 years ago, maybe 20. So I'm still carrying it. See? and still chewing all this. It's this is the moment where I understand that modern art is something. It's something.
Yeah, the power of art, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's incredible.
Great, Sergio. It was a great talk. I'm so happy that we had the opportunity to have this talk with you.
Thank you, Benjamin.
Maybe some people want to ask you questions because I see that there are some people online. If you want to ask a question to Sergio.
Yes, send it over.
Meanwhile, I will just remind to everybody that we are launching a Museum Week. You have a question in Spanish? Is it correct?
Perfecto. We can do that.
Okay. Enhorabuena por eso libro y mucha suerte con las ventas. Okay. It's a blessing on your new book. Okay. So just wanted to remind everybody that we're launching a membership program for artists and for cultural institutions. You just go on Twitter, see the pinned tweet, and just leave your information, and we'll be back to you as soon as possible.
Yeah. So while we were discussing the questions, I want to invite everyone to. This is Museum Week, so something that we can all do is go to Instagram, find Museum Week, and share their posts in your Instagram stories. The more people we send over and give awareness, this is important. Museum Week, we're giving awareness of culture around the world, and we can all be part of that. We all have benefited from culture and from museums in our own cities, in our own places where we live. So this is something that we can all participate and do during this week.
Thank you very much, Sergio. That's give me the opportunity to speak about the themes of the next coming. So today's creators. Mm-hmm. Tomorrow is freedom, a very important theme. By the way, we will have a very interesting talk with the fine arts director, the director of the Fine Arts Museum of Odessa, and two persons that are specialized into cultural heritage in times of war. Mm-hmm. What do you do? Protect the people, of course, but what do we do with the cultural heritage? So freedom is a very interesting theme, of course, for artists, but for cultural institutions today and tomorrow. Thursday is about sexuality. So why is that? We don't want to leave this theme to a certain industry. It's not possible to leave this theme just, addressed to young audiences, to general audiences, in a specific angle, I would say. I'm not being judgmental here. I'm just saying that there are so many more narratives, so many more dreams that we can build, on this theme. Friday, we will speak about environment. Saturday, about life lessons. You see so many, wisdom quotes on the internet. Sometimes they are wise, sometimes they're not wise. Sometimes they are not, sometimes the author is not really quote. Well, museums are going to bring you, very interesting, inspirational content coming from them. And to finish the week, we are going to have the theme of dance. Why dance? Because dance is not a closure, it's an opening. So we will close by an opening, and we will have a very interesting performance from the roof of Paris. A dancer called Jeanne Morel will dance from the roof of Paris. So that's that's cool. So that's it. Thank you very much, Sergio. Thank you, everybody. This video will be available on replay. Someone is saying freedom. Yeah, freedom.
Yes, no, what a great topics you guys chose for this year. It's amazing. All these life experiences, from freedom starts here and then extends into your life. Sexuality, which is so much art being expressed on that. Dance, all this amazing. So again, congratulations on this great journey.
Thank you.
To be part of it. We look forward to continue collaboration and
for sure.
Whatever we are in the world, and feel free to also make me a collaborator in the video. That way, I can also post it on my page.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Sergio.
Thank you, guys.
To everybody. Bye bye.
Have a great day. Goodbye.
Have a great day. Bye.